Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of the Noisy Neighbours podcast. As usual, joined by my younger brother Christian. Christian,
So,
how are you today?
guys, back again.
Are you okay?
Yeah, man, not too bad.
Yeah,
Obviously, enjoyed a bit of time away with the family and that.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, we both got back yesterday after a few days away in Wales, which was nice.
Did a bit of a watch along, didn't we?
Got a bit of a watch along the first ones, which was really fun. So hopefully get a few more of them in. But yeah, we'll come to that at the end of the pod. Any planned ones that we've got? So yeah, I suppose last time we spoke, I think we've both played twice. I know we had to
Yeah.
watch along, but we didn't really kind of cover anything in great detail. So yeah, so I suppose yeah, should we get straight into the game last night?
The best place to start, I guess. I mean, City was a bit more uneventful, wasn't it? So I
Yeah,
suppose the best place to start is United because I imagine you've got a few little points to make.
yeah, you're right. So
So,
um, I'm sure everyone saw the game last night. Manchester United nil, Newcastle United 2. Um, yeah, so obviously looking at the starting lineup, there's a few issues with that, and some are sort of system related, some are personnel as well. So I suppose the first thing is obviously the if we get into the stuff that Amorim can't control, which is Ugarte being suspended
yeah.
and he has to play two midfielders. Now he did leave out Mainu, which was a disastrous call.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm assuming there's something to do with maybe protecting him. That's all I can think of because obviously he would play him, and obviously he has played a lot of football in the last not just month, but the last year really. He's probably why his performance has dipped a little bit. Is the amount of football he's played.
Yeah.
So I'll give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt on that. However, you are then left with two midfielders in the squad, which is obviously Fernandez is suspended as well, who could do a job there. Again, not ideal. So you're left with Casemiro and Eriksen. Now, Casemiro and Eriksen were the start of Ten Hag's reign, and this is when it was going well. People felt that had a ceiling to it, even with Eriksen and Casemiro 2 years younger.
Yeah.
Last season, so that's Ten Hag's second year, Carragher famously said about Casemiro after a 4-0 loss to Palace, leave the football before the football leaves you, right?
Yeah.
And Eriksen was just basically wasn't in the team last year. He kind of came back in a little bit this year with Ten Hag, which was just sort of desperation to find something. So, yeah, I mean, I obviously, we spent the weekend away together on a family trip, and we were talking about Newcastle, and they are an athletic team. Those three in midfield get at it.
Yeah,
They're,
can I just interject me at one point, right? So
yeah,
I saw your lineup before the game, and I saw their lineup of Tonali, Joe Linton,
yeah.
and Gamares, and I was like, you'd lost the game before it started, in
Yeah,
my opinion.
there's no way those two in centre mid at their physical condition and their age that could
Yeah,
compete with those three. One, you're outnumbered. It's 3 against 2, and those three are aggressive, fit, and good athletes. All three of them.
yeah,
I mean, we spoke about Joe Linton and his transformation from a striker to this sort of 12k a game centre mid has been amazing. So
Not
you're
only
looking
that,
at your
class players as well. I mean, Tonali, he's much
well,
better than
yeah,
I thought. Obviously, we didn't see a lot of him because of that betting thing.
the ban, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, obviously.
Yesterday,
And Gamares is a very good player as well and
yeah,
aggressive.
Gamares is brilliant. Yeah,
So, yeah, like you said, I mean, you're looking at that team, you're thinking, how do you physically... I've had this with Ten Hag where I feel he sent teams out where I don't know how you're going to win with that team. There's been multiple occasions with Ten Hag. Last
yeah,
night was definitely one. It was never... You could play that team 100 times out of 100 and you will lose you'll lose the midfield battle, whether you
Mm.
scab a couple of goals here and there and get a point. That's a different argument. But the point is, you're going to get overrun 100 times out of 100 with that team
Yeah.
against their team, and that is Ten Hag had this a few times. Obviously, when in his first season at City, which really bothered me when he went to the Etihad and it was 4-0 at half time. He had moments like that, and this was obviously Amorim's worst night as United manager. And like I said, there's a few personnel issues. He had. I don't know. Well, is the pressure from above on Mainu to say we need to protect the guy? He's struggling a little bit. Looks down physically. Don't use him as much. But I mean, honestly, and look, say he plays it, say he starts and gets injured, and then we've got literally no midfield for the next month. There's swings and roundabouts to this. But yeah, that's the bit where you think, okay, Amorim gets a tiny pass on that. Now we come to the big issue that's been going on now since the City game, which is the 3-4-3, massive talking point, and I know a lot of people are on at Amorim to change it, and he's adamant he's not going to change it. However, I said to you, I might have said it on the last pod, I might have said it to you just not, offline, and I said Ten Hag went away from what I think he wanted to do. Which led to his downfall. So I now don't want to sit here and say Amorim should change. However, you've got he's playing 3-4-3, and he started with Ahmad as a right wing back, so the balance was a little bit better. We had 4 defenders essentially, and 4 forwards and 2 midfielders, which is what Ten Hag played really. In a slightly tweaked system. Since the City game, I think, he's gone with, and obviously he won that, so I don't know if he's looking at that City game thinking, well, it worked, why should I not carry on? He's now gone with 2 defenders at wing-back, Mazraoui and Dalot, and neither are good going forward, basically. It's just simple as that. So now you've got 5 defenders on the pitch. You've also got a defensive midfielder, at least 1, sometimes 2, Ugarte or Casemiro. You've now got 6 defensive players in the team, plus a goalkeeper, that's 7. You've got 7 players that can't create or score.
And not only that, you play the most defensive team in the league by line-up, but you can't defend.
Can't defend. I mean, this is the next point. So and we can't score. I mean, since the City game, okay, we scored 2 against you, 1 was a penalty. Since Rashford has been dropped in the league, so forget the Carabao game, not scored in the last 3 league games. Not scored a goal. And don't get me wrong, they missed chances. They missed chances last night, which we might be able to come to later. Like you said, the defending is awful. So this now comes down to, I don't think this is system. I don't think Lisandro Martinez is looking at Alexander Isak and not picking him up because he's in the back 3. Martinez, he's playing shit. It's simple as that. There's no excuse for this. People can argue to change this system to a conventional 4 at the back, right? But Martinez has been at this all season, right? I've said to you, he's not been the same since that severe injury. But last night, you could not have actually seen the issue with Martinez any clearer than last night. Those 2 goals, right? The first one, Isaac is in his eye line and the crosser, right? Maguire,
it was so bad,
has his back to Isaac, right? He does not pick him up. He doesn't even body him. The second one, he bodies him, but again, now you're getting into the physical attributes of a centre-back being 5'8" or whatever he is. I mean, he looks even smaller than that. And to be honest, in the past, he's played bigger than his height. Now it looks like, how did we even get away with this guy at centre-back? That's how, and obviously it looks like it comes off Joe Linton's arm, but he loses another aerial battle. That's the point I'm making here. You know what I mean? So, like you said, the defending's awful and we've got 5 defenders. We also now can't attack because the forwards that we've got on aren't great. Because let's be honest, he's took Rashford out, and we'll come to Rashford later. He's took Rashford out, and Rashford's probably our best forward in the squad.
I was going to say something on this.
And so I mean, look, like I said, I think Rashford's a separate topic. I don't want to get into that now. We'll pick that up later. Your light up front is the point I'm making. So we're not scoring. The defending is awful, and the balance is off. And it's like, we could be losing 3-0 in these games trying Ahmad back at right wing back, Anthony at right wing back even, Garnacho at left wing back, getting some players in who can actually do something going forward. I'm not saying it'll work, right? But he is basically saying, I'm not changing this 3-4-3. Okay, that's fine. Nobody's saying to change your system, but you can't keep running out Dallo and Mazraoui as your two wing backs. They're the spare guys, and the shit's going forward. You can't keep doing this. Like, is he getting lost in the, I don't want to play a winger at wing back because A, he doesn't think they're very good, which is there's a fair argument for that with Garnacho, or he doesn't like the balance. There's two things there. I don't know what it is, because since City, he has not played a winger at wing back. And even last night, I was thinking about this last night. It got to I'm trying to think when he made a sub. I think up until the 88th minute, when maybe Anthony came on, he had his back five still on the pitch. Okay, I think Euro came on, but it was a defender for a defender. He took Martinez off for Euro.
Yeah.
And then I think he took the Ligt off. I think he took the Ligt off for Anthony. Up until the 88th minute, he had 5 defenders on the pitch. In a 2-0. Okay, the second half was a bit better. Shout out Mainoo for saving what looked like a 5-0 loss.
Yeah, this is one thing I wanted to ask you, right? So I noticed even the commentary team mentioned it last night, but I've been seeing it a lot from watching you, even in Europa, stuff like that. And the changes mid-game to the back line. I mean, the changes everywhere are a bit erratic, but the changes specifically to the back line, usually as a manager, you leave that alone, barring an injury or something extreme. You would leave it alone. I get yours is a bit particular because you're playing the 5 at the back, so I don't mind the switching the wing backs, especially if you need a goal. However, it's more like the central back line, and then he's shifting players that were at the back to wing back.
Yeah,
it's all over the place, and players, even top class players, you are talking elites, are going to struggle with that. They're going to really struggle mid-game switching system, especially when they're not even used to this system. He's doing it with guys that he knows aren't even up to scratch in the first place.
I mean, I don't know if you saw the statistic. It obviously emphasises what you've just said there. So, defensive substitutions in the Premier League under Amorim before last night's game, right? This is basically every team in the league who's made the most defensive subs since Amorim took charge.
I bet we're up there.
Subs on 22, subs off 23. First and second ranked in the league. We have subbed off the most defenders in the league under Amorim.
It's crazy. It really makes no sense. Do you know all that says to me is poor preparation, because you're not trusting what you've put out there, and then you're erratically mid-game changing it.
I mean, obviously, he touched on that, didn't he, in an interview? I mean, this does seem wild, but they've had 4 full training sessions since he's been in charge, which is a low number. I don't know. Surely they've been at Carrington more than that, but I'm assuming he's meaning, they've turned up with, say between a Thursday and a Sunday.
Yeah.
They've maybe only had one day, because of Europa to, and then obviously the Christmas break, they barely train because it's a real, congested fixture lineup. So maybe there's some truth in that.
But I wanted your opinion on something as well, right? So obviously we had a long drive back yesterday. Mrs. fell asleep, so I was just like, I had Talk Sport on, and I was listening to it, and they were going on about how managers are obsessed with playing this like sort of pep system that is designed, this play out from the back, and ultimately it's happening in lower leagues where the teams themselves and the players are not good enough to play that system, and then they're conceding goals, shipping goals, and they're being worse than if they just played to their strengths. Now, do you think there's like an area of that with managers these days where it's this obsession with they've got to stick to the philosophy rather than adjust to what you've got? Because I think it shows more of a strength in manager and more intelligence to be like, yeah, look, this is the way I want to play, going forward. But at the moment, we can't play that way. And I want to win football games. We need to pick up points. Do you not think it shows a bit more depth in character to be like, right, this is what we're going to do for the time being, because ultimately we've got players here that we've got some decent fullbacks, but they can't go forward.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I actually screenshot something off Twitter last night, which was I didn't watch the post-match interview with Amorim. I've seen loads and loads of quotes on Twitter of it and little sort of snippets of him.
Yeah.
This is Amorim on the system question. So he said, if I change all the time, it is going to be even worse. But I understand they have a lot of difficulties because they spent 2 years playing one way. Okay, I understand that. You can feel it. I can feel it. But I have to sell my idea. I don't have another one. So, this is to your point. I mean, there's a few things to unpack there because obviously, right? Okay, so INEOS gave Ten Hag a extension or triggered the 1 year extension.
Yeah.
Anyway, they didn't sack Ten Hag. Basically, Ten Hag gets another window, albeit INEOS maybe had more fingers on the transfers than the previous ones than Ten Hag. I don't know exactly, but it felt a little bit more like they wrestled a bit of control from Eric. They didn't sack him. Then 9 games in, they do sack him. They then go, you know what? Let's not bin a season with a Ranić interim appointment. We know this lot won't run for anyone. Let's go and get a guy we actually see a future with. So that is Ruben Amorim. They go and pay the compensation. Now, here's the process with appointing Amorim, right? So they know he plays a 3-4-3, right? INEOS. They've gone and got him mid-season. There's no pre-season. They've gone and got him at a busy time in the fixtures. It's not even like he's had international breaks. He's had none. You know, he came in on the back of an international break, and it has been a game every 3 days since then.
Yeah.
So they must have known. I mean, this isn't like he's a young coach. It makes sense that in his sort of managerial career, he's fell on this 3-4-3 that he likes, and he's what he's saying is, you want me to set these up in a 4-3-3? I don't know how to coach that.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. I mean, look, Ten Hag didn't really change, did he? His system, and maybe, you know, I think the tactics changed slightly. But it was 4-2-3-1. I would say 98% of the time he was here. Ollie flirted with the 3 at the back a little bit when he needed a result, and to be fair, got one. The thing, but this is to your point here. It's like everyone's talking about change it. What if he can't?
Yeah, well, this is the thing. Because a lot of coaches these days, they're very one-dimensional. On that Talk Sport thing as well, they were on about Vince and company, and they were like, he's basically failed his way to a top job just because of his philosophy. Because Bayern have looked at it and gone, look, don't get me wrong, there's a bit of the name thing in it as well. Don't get me wrong with company. I think he's maybe a bit of an exception. However, the point still stands that this obsession with philosophy seems to be going through to the grassroots of football, where it's actually damaging teams, I think.
Yeah, I
mean, you've got Dalot at the moment, for instance. I saw Dalot last night, and he's going down the wing, and he's trying to do a step over, and he nearly falls over the ball. You've got to play him in a position that Ruben Amorim knows he's not capable, excuse me, of playing that role. But you're trying to force him into that position. He is a decent fullback, but ultimately he can't keep this up for the rest of the year. Amorim. I've read today as well. I don't know if you've seen this. That Amorim said, "Don't expect anything in January because we can't sign without selling."
Well,
so that's going to be a long year, mate. If you're just playing this system, you're trying to force, square pegs round holes kind of thing.
Which it is. I mean, forget Dalot. I mean, look, I feel for Dalot a little bit. I don't think he's that great, but he's not a left back, and he's not.
He's just being shafted, isn't he? Really?
So he's a right back, right? He's a right back in a back 4. He's playing wing back on the left. So Mazraoui is not a wing back. He is not great going forward. He's very aggressive and wins it a lot. I'd say quite good in transition. But the final ball, if you're expecting one of them to put a cross in that's going to be good, you can forget it. Yeah. And obviously Dalot's no left foot, so you're not getting anything from that side. Like you said, I mean, this then does feed into. I just want to stick with INEOS a little bit as well while we're on that subject. Obviously, the game. I don't think there's loads more to say really, other than they ran us off the pitch for an hour, and like I said, shout out to Manu saving an absolute drubbing, because that felt like 7-0 Liverpool, 5-0 Liverpool, 6-3 City. That's what last night felt like, where we were just overwhelmed in 30 minutes, and it should have been 3-0 before Mainu even got on.
Yeah.
So Mainu got on and actually steadied it single-handedly, by the way, with
I agree.
Casemiro, with the corpse of Casemiro next to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you, just before we do move on from the game, you know, this substitution that obviously involved Mainu, Xerxes going off. What did you think about that? I mean, I've not seen that at Old Trafford too many times where a player was like,
honestly, yeah. I mean,
I actually felt a bit sorry for him.
On a human level, yeah, but I don't think. I honestly think that this should not be aimed at Xerxes, really.
No.
If he is this bad, then who the hell scouted him and paid £40 million for him? This is look. Yeah. This will feed into my INEOS rant in a minute because they were.
Yeah, it sort of leads on.
But yeah, no. If you isolate it, I think the fans are entitled to. Look, I mean, there might be something in it where it was like a sarcastic cheer at the manager for bringing on Mainu. I did think there was two sides.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from.
He was awful. I mean, look.
All my point is, it could have been anyone. I think the whole team was so bad. And it wasn't just a case of being dominated. They looked like they didn't want it, United. They looked like they'd gone out and the first 10 minutes they were getting absolutely smashed.
Absolutely.
And they were like, we're not good enough. It felt like, when you're playing Sunday League and it's like, you're playing one of the best teams there and you're 10 minutes in, a few lads are hungover and it's just like, right, they're just clearly better than us. And it just felt like that. It felt like a sense of just accepting.
They were overwhelmed. I mean, they were overwhelmed. They were stood in the tunnel thinking we're going to get thumped here. And they were, to be honest. Until, like I said, the substitution of Xerxes. I mean, look, I think the fans are entitled to. I saw a tweet of a guy who was at the game and he tweeted at halftime saying he left because of the fan reaction to that substitution. I do think we've got a bit soft in this era.
Yeah, it's a bit extreme.
Like, he is a professional footballer, or he's supposed to. You don't want to lump on the lad, but he looks absolute pony. If you want to call it, it's like we are fans. We watch our club go and pay 40 million for a striker who can't control the ball or pass it 10 yards. We're not even saying scoring or assisting here. We're talking about the basics in the middle of the pitch when you got possession, and also he's pretty lazy. So, I mean, look. Do you like to see a guy nearly in tears? Obviously not. I understand that he's a human. I understand that. But at the same time, I watched these same people that are going, I can't believe this. We don't do that at Man United. They're probably the same people who go, we need a person like Roy Keane in this.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, and he'd do that on the pitch.
You know, Roy Keane, there's a famous clip of this, and this is young Ronaldo, 19-year-old. You've probably seen it. And there's a short rebound to Ronaldo, and he's got a tap.
Yeah, I've seen it.
He moves up, tries to dink the keeper, goes over the bar. Camera pans to Keane. You don't need a lip reader to work out what he says. It's along the lines of, just put it in the net, you fucking wanker. And then he goes. And then, after it, goes, fucking prick. Right? 20 minutes later, Ronaldo scores.
Yeah, and he doesn't celebrate as well.
And Keane and Ronaldo are fine. Like they get on really well now. Like we move on, and all I'm saying is that these same people here crying about the fans sarcastically jeering one of the all-time worst 30 minutes at Old Trafford are the same people that are probably going, Roy Keane would sort these out. Well, mate, mind it. What do you want? Like, do you want someone to give him some home truths? He was shite. He got told he was rubbish by the fans. I'm sorry, if I had to pay 60 quid last night and a guy stands there, at the end of the day, if INEOS roped me in, I've not played football for 10 years into centre mid, I'd expect to be booed off because I'm rubbish. I'm no good at football, certainly at that level. Do you know what I mean? So, I've got sympathy. If he is really this crap, who the hell signed him?
Yeah, it's not his fault, is it?
But he can't be this bad. You have to think he's better than this. I mean, but looks, this isn't just Xerxes. A lot of them are, a few of them it's age.
There's no cop-out as well with these signings as well, because they can't just go. And I've seen a lot of fans saying, oh, well, it's 10 hour signings. Yeah, but you can't just, the book doesn't stop there. INEOS, we were you lot were all sold into INEOS came in and things are going to be changing. Well, how the hell have you gone from nearly sacking Ten Hag to then him staying at the club, giving him a load more money? He's then bought in, how many players did he sign in the summer? So there was Mazraoui, Delict, Who were the offensive?
Amorim
Xerxes, obviously.
Five players.
5 players.
So
So,
how team he signed? I really want to get into this, to be honest. If that's all right with you on
yeah,
the
of course,
INEOS,
yeah. Must
on
be.
this INEOS transfer window, which even I must admit myself sat back and thought there was good in it. But I was thinking about this last night, and obviously we're halfway through the season now. It's a big sample size. Amorim has coached 8 games, Ten Hag coached 9, and I think Ruud coached 2 in between. But if you just forget the Van Nistelrooy games, the two Ruud games, the Ten Hag 9 and the Amorim 8 games, Ten Hag actually it had better stats marginally than Amorim, which is incredible. Nobody thought it would get worse. It has got worse. That's factual.
Yeah.
Coming from someone who likes Amorim. However, this you look at this and you go, okay, Ten Hag played a conventional lineup, which a lot of people want to do now. They want Amorim to change the system to a 4-2-3-1 or whatever, right? Here's the thing, right? I've got some stats I was looking at last night. I just wanna talk about this as like people are talking about. Oh, he needs to change it. He needs to change it. So Ten Hag coached, like I said, 9 games at the beginning of this season after this amazing transfer window, apparently by INEOS. And after 9 games, we had 11 points and we had scored 8 goals. We were averaging less than a goal a game under Ten Hag, and we had 11 in 9, so just over a point a game, which is terrible. Amorim, 8 games, 7 points, so actually under a point a game, 9 goals, slightly over a goal a game. Not a lot in that. You might say that Amorim's had tougher fixtures on paper, with City and Arsenal away. Ten Hag's big games were at home. Obviously lost them all. There's not a lot of difference between those two, and this is obviously a guy who actually signed them, who you think the players would respect more in Ten Hag. So you look at these two, and I'm going back. Ten Hag was highly rated. You know, obviously he didn't show it overall. But Amorim was really highly rated, you know. So these cries to change formation, but the evidence suggests that even if you change this might not change.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no the stats from this season now. The sample size is basically saying this team, this squad of players in either a 4-2-3-1 or a 3-4-3 average a point a game.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. The only point I would make is that Amorim is set on this system of 5 at the back, and just through, I mean, even times we've dabbled at it, I know you need a very particular set of players to play that system. You also need to spend a lot of money. Now, with the rules that the Prem have now put down, or whoever's put these rules about, that's going to be difficult. That's all I'm saying, to acquire that level of player and that level of squad to actually perform and even compete for titles. I just think he's going to find that difficult, because you're going to have these players that he's going to have to make work. It might be a Mazraoui, it might be a Dallo. So he's going to have to. If he's saying, I'm just playing this way, I've got no other way. Dude, you're going to have a bit more depth. You're going to have to maybe bend somewhere.
Yeah. Look, flexibility is a big thing in football, and I don't know, this is going back to sort of what we were speaking about earlier with, is it a case of he's stubborn or he can't do it? I mean, neither's great. You want, like you said, a bit of flexibility. Yeah. I mean, all great managers have shown flexibility. Guardiola has not played 4-3-3 every season at City. Like the treble season, Stones and Rodri were in a 2-man wall in front of 3 centre-backs.
This is the joke, right?
And Fergie changed. When Mourinho came over from Porto, Fergie was 4-4-2, not changing it, right? Mourinho comes in and plays 4-3-3 with Robben and Duff either side of Drogba, wins the league 2 years in a row. Fergie's like, you know what, I need to change. I need to go 4-3-3. And he goes with Ronaldo, Rooney, Tevez. Hargreaves came into midfield and played like a hybrid right-hand side role.
I'm glad you brought this up, right? Because a lot of people, and again, it's just lazy points of view where they go, oh, everyone's trying to copy the Pep style away. Well, the Pep, like you've just said, the Pep style away has never been I just do this. He has switched so many times.
Yeah,
Like,
because he's a
and
great
the thing
manager.
is, this is what top managers do. You look at,
Yeah.
you think in world football at the minute, how many managers can you actually say are about that genuinely don't just have this one style that they have to stick to? I'd
Yeah.
say there's probably only Ancelotti, Pep. We've not seen enough of Slot yet, but I'd say honestly they are the main two really that you are known for. They will change and adapt to a certain situation that needs it. Whereas these newer managers that are coming in, it just seems to be, well, this is my style of play. If we lose a goal from doing it, it's my fault. It's not good enough.
Yeah. No, it's not exactly. You've got to show flexibility, and at the end of the day, you don't want to hammer Amorim too much because again, it almost comes back to the Xerxes argument. If this is all he can do, why the hell have the owners this new Sir Jim Ratcliffe loves the club, like we've
Yeah,
got rid of the
sanctioned.
Glazers. Well, we're not got rid of the Glazers, but they're not involved in the sporting side of the club. Why have they done this mid-season in a guy that, like you said, he's going to need a lot of money to build a 3-4-3 team? I mean, just off the top of your head, who has actually won it with a 3-4-3? Conte is the only one I can think of. I mean, I'm sure there might be a Van Gaal Bayern team from the early from 2000s or something.
Yeah, there was of it too
In the
sure.
Prem, Tuchel won a Champions League, but he didn't really have major success in
Oh
the
no, he
league.
did. Yeah, the Prem was a disaster. But
Conte won one, and we could. I mean, that might be a conversation for. We could get into that if you want and have a look at Conte's team that won it. But I just want to go back to INEOS and this amazing summer that they've had, because like I said, you've got two managers, Ten Hag, Amorim, two different systems, completely different systems, both averaging around a point a game and a goal a game. There's not a lot in it between them. And I just want to have a look at. I just want to show you the stats from last season and the transfers that happened. So if I just have a look, I'll just get our stats up from last season.
yeah, sure.
So 23-24 table. Okay, so we finished 8th. Famously finished 8th. We scored 57 goals, which is I'm just looking here, it's about the 10th best in the league. Joint 10th best in the league with Palace. Yeah. So the Palace and United both scored 57. Everybody else 9-1 scored considerably more than that. We finished on 60 points. We won 18 out of 38 games, lost 14 games. So we scored 57 goals, right, which is a legit mid-table return. I'm just going to go through some of the teams. Palace 57, like I just said. Brighton 55. Fulham 55. Brentford 56. Luton 52, got relegated. So that's probably a good place to start. Luton scored 52 goals, got relegated. Okay, they let 85 in. United scored 5 more goals than a relegated club last season, right? So that tells me you need to go into that window and you need to sign attackers, right? Let's look at the 5 players that they signed. Another area that we had all season was Dalot, poor Dalot again at left back, or Wan-Bissaka. You need a left back. Luke Shaw's finished, right? Physically finished, right? What do we go and do? We go and get a right back. Let's just not even name names. Let's just talk about positions. A right back, 2 centre backs, a holding midfielder, and a unknown striker number 10, whatever he is, from Serie A.
Yeah.
So what you basically, and who left? Let's just say, so we scored 57 goals. Who left that team? Martial. Okay, in fairness, Martial was not the player he was when he was good. He was obviously another one physically finished, didn't play last year. But I'm just saying, he did leave the club, and he is playing now for Athens. You know, he'd probably be playing now. Martial and Sancho out, Xerxes in, and we scored 5 more goals than a relegated club last year.
Yeah, you've got to question the common sense.
Window. And you wonder why we're looking at this now, and we are averaging a goal a game under 2 coaches. Both.
They have basically, with what you've just told me there, that tells me that INEOS believed this Xerxes guy would come in and he would be our 20-goal-a-year guy. Or they thought that maybe Højlund would kick on, but there was no evidence to suggest he would.
No.
So,
this comes back to, I think I said it on the last one, I think we were talking about this, young player stuff that people talk about on Twitter, and you've got your people who love Højlund and love Garnacho and Love Ahmad and these people, and obviously it goes across the board to every club. Some people love their players and make excuses when they're shit, and what they do is United are really bad for this. I said it to you. He's been crap for 10 games, right? And Højlund has. He's been crap every game this year. I think he's got 2 goals. He's young. He's raw. No. He's shit. That's the word you're looking for. I don't care how old he is. I care that he's been shit for 80% of the season. What? So are you telling me that INEOS have sat there in a room and gone, he's young, he's raw, regarding Garnacho and Højlund, and expecting them to suddenly get 25 goals each? Because it ain't going to happen, mate. It ain't going to happen with Garnacho. Højlund, I mean, he's a separate conversation, to be honest, but another 70 mil. You can boo Xerxes off all you want. He's not far behind. So, this amazing window...
I agree.
So forget... And also, it's not even like... Okay, Ugarte was an upgrade on McTominay, right? I would agree with that. But it's like we had to lose players to get these players. So, where's the left back? We didn't have a left back for a full season, right? Everybody with a working set of eyes could see it was an issue all season. Dalot having to cover left back. What are we doing again? And like you said, now we've gone to a 3-4-3. It's even louder that Dalot's at left wing back, whatever you want to call it. Mazraoui and Wan-Bissaka, I think Mazraoui's better, but I don't think Mazraoui is much better going forward.
Even now, United, I don't know what your opinion is, but from an opposition fan point of view, it just seems that United make opportunistic signings. Agate's available signing. Yeah. Right, don't get me wrong, Agate could have been scouted for years, months. I just don't know if I believe United did.
It feels like it's off Twitter. It feels like they...
it feels like that. Lenny Yoro, right, is another one. And it felt like Real Madrid are interested. They want him next year. We're going to get him now.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like there's any sort of structure going forward. It just feels like they're available. Yeah. Go and get them.
You have to sign those, what you're looking for. But United paid top dollar for it.
Yeah.
Right, what's the point in spending 60 million or 70 million on a potential? Why not just go and spend 75 million on a finished product that we know is good? Let me give you an example, right? Højlund's 70 mil, give or take. It depends where you look, but it's going to be about that. 70 mil, euros, pounds, whatever it is. Why not just go and spend 80 mil on Watkins?
Yeah. You know what you're getting.
Not even just that. Evan Nielsen at Bournemouth's better. What was he, 50?
Well, that's the thing. We spoke about this before. Alvarez going for 90. Everyone laughed.
So, okay, you didn't get Kane. Boo-hoo. Levy's never going to sell to Man United. Do you need an average fan like me and you to tell the club that? The fans go, well, Ten Hag wanted Kane. Who didn't want Kane?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know Daniel Levy? He ain't going to sell to an English club, especially when he had a buyer in Bayern. So... Yeah, I just think that this INEOS ownership so far has been an absolute dumpster fire, and they are getting away with this. The Glazers, bear in mind, I'm talking about the United fans and these protests, got a game called off 3 seasons ago. Was it the lockdown season? Oh, I can't remember now. I feel like it was one of Ollie's. I think it was an Ollie game, so it must have been maybe it might have been the season we came second. They got a game called off because of the Glazer ownership and the Ed Woodward and Murta had fans turning up at their house, setting fireworks off, and there was security issues around Murta and Woodward. And you've now got, like I just said, I just read out the 5 signings this summer. We basically our attack was equivalent to a relegated team in Luton, and they handed Ten Hag a unknown Serie A young striker in Xerxes that looks terrible.
Yeah.
And also got rid of... Okay, Sancho was probably a Ten Hag issue, but... and lost 2 forwards in Martial and... Oh, sorry, Greenwood, but I suppose he's been out of the picture a while. But he's still an out, isn't it? You lost Greenwood, Martial, Sancho, and they give him Xerxes in a season where our attack was 10th in the league. It's just... beggars belief. And
it's like you just said. That doesn't take. I mean, you went on Google and worked that out in what, a minute. It just seems they must be watching the games. They must be going, right, we are severely lacking in an attacking position, and they're not doing anything about it. Or they can't have thought that Xerxes was going to come in, even if he was actually really good. He still wouldn't be enough. Like, you
no,
can't
no,
expect a young lad to come in and just carry it. He's not Van Persie. United
no.
have strayed away from what they were so good at. United, under Ferguson, would look at the league, and this is why you remain top for so many seasons. You
Yeah,
would
yeah,
look at the previous year, you would go, who was the best player? Right, Tevez, go and get him. Right, who was the best player that year? Berbatov, go and get him. Who was the best player the year before that nearly took Arsenal? Van Persie, go and get him. And this is why, for people make thing of it, like, yes, Ferguson was great with recruitment with young players, but let's not ignore, he was very savvy. He looked at the market and he went, right, well, if I take the opposition's best player who spearheaded the previous season, I'm going to be at the top again. And he did this time and time again. And
yeah, yeah.
City have done pretty much a similar model to do the set. We've gone a bit. I mean, we've gone to foreign leagues a lot of the time as well, but we have dipped into the same market.
Yeah.
If you look at Riyad Mahrez, is another example. What City have seemed to do is they'll look at like the best player out in like the outside the top six or something like that. You know, like for instance, with Mahrez, we're now looking at like Eze, players like that, and it has somewhat worked for us in a way. Unfortunately, we've strayed away in recent times, and we've gone like for these unknown guys. Like we've now got Doku and Savio. I don't want to go into that too early, but I'm just trying to make a point of, it seems your way was to do that, and now it's just gone completely flipped, and you're going for these unknown guys, and it's not working.
Paying top dollar, it's catching up. The recruitment is catching up now because it's like every single one is this potential raw, gonna get better player, and they're not. They're actually middling out. You're actually now looking at the reason teams like Bournemouth, United are 14th in the league because their attack is probably equal. That, I mean, certainly without Rashford, which we'll come to in a second. So the attack, Højlund would probably struggle to get in a top half team. Facts.
Yeah,
Xerxes would not start for probably any team in the league. And Garnacho on current form would struggle to get in. Well, I mean, at the minute he would struggle to get in any of them. Do you know what I mean? And Ahmad is finding his way a little bit, but again, he doesn't look like he's going to have the statistical output of a starting winger for Man United.
No.
And this is that's exactly all you've got is a load of they're going to get good, they're going to get good, they're going to get good, aren't getting good players, and the whole team's full of it now.
Yeah, next minute they're 27.
Exactly, and it's not. It's that's the issue. But yeah, I think just before we move on, I appreciate we've absolutely hammered this one on United. But Rashford, so Marcus Rashford has been out the squad since the City game. Obviously, wasn't involved in the City game. United win that, looked amazing. Since then, lost 3 in a row, not scored a goal. Rashford is then back in the squad last night and was an unused substitute by Amorim. I suppose I'll come to you first. Really, what do you think is going on there? And yeah, just your general opinion.
So, my opinion on it is it's a bit strange, right? I don't understand. Right, fair enough. We've seen time and time again Rashford has apparently had discipline issues, which I completely understand. If the guy is a nuisance or is a problem, then you're going to have to make a point of it in the media, and you're going to have to just exile him from the squad, totally. But he brought him back last night, right? So, to all intents and purposes, things are okay again. Yeah. So then not use him and you're bringing on Anthony. It just feels like you're making statements, and it's like, what are you doing? Because you're just losing matches. You're looking an idiot. You've got a guy on the bench who is clearly... And by the way, I'm not a Marcus Rashford fan, you know this. Like, I don't rate the guy. I don't think he's Man United level. I'm just making a point of what you have got out there, as we've previously just gone through, is shit. So you've got a guy on the bench who is considerably better than Højlund or Xerxes. I mean, Xerxes that bad, he's getting hooked in half an hour. And you've got a guy on the bench and he's there sending Anthony out. It just feels like, I don't really understand. You're bringing him back to the fold to what? Humiliate him and bring on Anthony? It just seems stupid. It seems a bit like the Sancho mess.
Well, like you said, I mean, So obviously this seems to be around attitude, or at least it was said. I mean, in fairness, he was awful in the Europa League game before City, and I think I said to you at the time, like, it could be just down to performance, and he's almost masking it with attitude. However, it went on a little bit. It's gone on 4 games now. This is completely my opinion. Obviously, it doesn't need sort of saying. I have no intel here with the club, and I've not read anything online. This is completely how I see the situation. I honestly think INEOS are behind this. I think they want him sold in January, and they've told Amorim not to use him. It's the only explanation, because it's just, you can't be. Amorim is not stupid.
I'm guessing you agree then with what you've said. You agree with my point of that he should be at least getting on the pitch in these circumstances. Yeah, he should be.
It's simple as that. I mean, look, if you obviously in the City game, Fernandes and Ahmad were the 2 10s, and Højlund was chasing his first touch around at the Etihad for 90 minutes. But look, I don't love Rashford as a 9, by the way. You know that. And however, he scored 4 goals this season in the league. He's our top scorer. Under Amorim, he scored 2 against Everton and 1 against Ipswich. Started really well. Then obviously been, like you said, completely exiled. Then he's back in last night. To not use him is, I mean, look,
it was that last night. In my opinion,
what we're trying to achieve here.
Last night, in my opinion, was worse than just leaving him out the squad again. Leaving him out the squad again would have been a better alternative for Amorim, because I mean, the Marcus Rashford chapter at United, by the way, is done. Like that is completely finished. But you need a buyer, and you want to get as much money as possible.
Yeah, I honestly do think that that's all I can make of the situation, is that obviously if he plays and gets injured, then they can't sell him in Jan, and they need to sell him to generate FFP to buy, which is all I can think of, because I refuse to accept that Amorim wouldn't use him in any of these 3 games. Okay, let the, what was the second game? God, I'm trying to think. After City, was it Forest? I think we lost to Forest 3-0. Oh, sorry, Bournemouth. Forest was 3-2 before City. Bournemouth 3-0. You forgive that because you went to you got the win at City, and you were justified with leaving him out. And then Wolves, obviously a bit of a disaster with Fernandes getting sent off. But again, you don't score. And then last night you are looking at Xerxes playing in this left 10 position, and Højlund is just probably not good enough. So. Yeah. I just can't imagine Amorim's looking at this thinking, I don't want to use Rashford in these situations when he's got to answer all these questions. It has to be that INEOS are right, put him in the squad if you want, but you are not using him. That's all I can think of. And look, I might be wrong. Like I said, it's completely my opinion here. Just looking from the outside looking in. Like you said, if he's on the bench, you assume that his attitude's been better, because... Well, why are you putting him on the bench? If he doesn't deserve to be,
if nothing's changed, he needs to. This is my point. If he's that bad, if he's that toxic for the rest of the squad, then you need to come out to the media. You need to tell him how bad he is, and you need to tell him that he won't be playing for Manchester United again, and he's being shipped. But ultimately, that didn't happen. He brings him back into the fold, doesn't use it, and you're sending on guys far. They're sending on Anthony. Like, what? Why? He's not going to get you a goal, is he? And he's not going to make a goal either.
Forget even Anthony. I mean, when Mainu came on, he moved Eriksen to that left 10, whatever you want to call position.
Eriksen should not be getting games.
Eriksen can't run.
No, he can't. He is not up to the... And I'm not saying he's not up to the Man United level. He's not up to Premier League level anymore.
Yeah. I mean, look, this is, just final thing on United for now, and obviously we'll be back in before the next game on sort of the preview looking ahead, and this will be a massive topic before Liverpool. I just want to talk about the United sort of issues around, like long-term issues, and this dates back probably goes back to when Ranić was in charge, and Ranić said, obviously the open heart surgery comment. And one thing that Ranić was really adamant on was the physicality of this team, and they are fitness and obviously athleticism in all areas of the pitch. Ranić was very, very strong with that, and he said, we need to raise the physicality of this team.
Yeah.
And under Ten Hag, 600 million got spent. The physicality and athleticism of this team has
got
dropped
worse
from there. You look at, I was looking before at the signings under Ten Hag, and we can probably do this another day and deep dive that. But just as a general sort of look at that, the only ones that have athletic qualities are technically shit. I'm thinking Højlund has athletic qualities but can't control the football.
Yeah.
Okay, Ugarte, I think's a pretty good player, to be fair. But you look at the first transfer window: Martinez, Casemiro, Anthony. A centre back who can't head, a midfielder who can't run anymore because he's 31 and past it, and a winger who has no pace and can't dribble. And that was his first window. And it continued. Mount, no athletic ability at all to play centre mid.
No.
We're already getting overran by everyone. Ralph Rangnick sat there and said, you need to come into this club, and I know Rangnick was meant to stay around, wasn't he? And I wish he did, to be honest, because we wouldn't have gone and wasted 400 million on players that are getting bullied every week, which are now. And he went and spent all this money, and you look at the squad now: Malacia weak, Mount weak, Fernandes getting weaker, getting older. You've got Anthony weak, Martinez getting bullied, Casemiro can't run anymore. This is like across the board.
Yeah, it's not an outlier, is it?
And you look at the only team we've done well against, City, who have got similar-ish issues, but City are technical, obviously, a much higher technical ceiling than Man United. But the only team United have played quite well against is City. You look at the games since: Forest ran us off the pitch, Bournemouth ran us off the pitch last night. Then
I actually agree.
Just bullied us. You know what I mean? And this dates back now to day one of Ten Hag, and you look at it now and you think, my God, we are going to he's got to find something. Obviously, you think that he's got to find something, but the physical to listen to what Rangnick said and go and sign athletic players and raise your athleticism in the team to go the opposite way.
Rangnick should have been kept. He's the only guy that came in, and this is what's wrong with Man United. No, obviously not you. You're completely aware of it. But Man United fans were against Rangnick because of how much he slated certain players. No, you need that.
I've got.
He was giving some hard truths that people needed to hear, including the players.
I've got mates who are big United fans, and they talk about that going back to the Rangnick days, and it's like, I don't want to sell 10 and buy 10 or whatever. Well, we did do that, and we signed 10 crap players and lowered our physical ability in the squad by a considerable margin. And you're seeing it weekly. And we'll get to this before the Liverpool game. You look at their midfield. So I said to you on the last one, Scholes said in the 3-0 loss to Liverpool, Szoboszlai, McAllister and Gravenberch ran United off the pitch in half an hour. Spurs did it with theirs. Last night, them three did it. You're going to see the same again next weekend. I don't know what he does. I don't know what the hell he does.
Mate, it's going to be a long season because how many... We'll answer yourself this question. How many teams have a worse midfield than United?
Yeah. I
mean, and there's how many points you're picking up.
What you have to do now is, I mean, if this was me, and this is a big concern because he isn't going to go away from 3-4-3, is you put 3 in there as a flat 3, Mainu being 1, and the other 2 are Ugarte, and the third one, Casemiro, and you hope that having 2 guys around Casemiro will be solid enough to get you to the end of the season, and you look at the huge glaring issue that this team cannot run in this league, and you are getting bullied, and they have to just look at the recruitment and just say, look, I don't know with INEOS. I mean, Mazraoui decent enough, De Ligt decent enough, Ugarte. So they've gone in a sort of a decent direction. They just signed in the positions we didn't really need. So yeah, look, I mean, that's probably something we can look at in a bit more detail ahead of Liverpool because we know what's coming. We know they are the best, probably the fittest team in the league.
They're killers at the top end as well. That's the problem.
And it's not just
So
them three. I mean, I saw him against Tottenham, Gravenberch, McAllister, Soboslai, Diaz. That box in the middle, and Gakpo does join in as well. That
they drown you.
that midfield four just press you into oblivion.
Yeah.
It's better than the Klopp press, which everyone thought was manic.
Yeah.
This is structured. This is like, because they actually take 5 minutes off. The Klopp one was just chaos. It was like heavy metal was what Klopp called it. This under Slot is, they will like against City in that 2-0. They 20 minutes of absolute mayhem, pressing you into oblivion, and then we're 1-0 up. Okay,
it's efficiency. All it is efficiency.
Let's have 10 minutes, and then Bosch 5 minutes out of nowhere, the lamping you into oblivion with a high press. And I am absolutely dreading it. Well, I don't want to waste anything because we'll get into it a bit more. But you know what's coming. You see it a mile off, and these are games where you look at Amorim and you think, what can he do? I mean, even if he did what I did, what I just said with Mainu, Casemiro, and Ugarte. We could still get overrun. None of them three. Ugarte is a decent athlete. Mainu is okay. He's young. He can get about a bit, but he's not. He doesn't look physically right to me personally. And Casemiro's finished. So
I was just about to say as well. If any listeners have seen your reaction after you've had a couple of hours to cool down and have a kip on it, I mean, we're going to do our first YouTube live on the Liverpool United game. And you're going to get an authentic fan reaction from you. It is going to be gold, to be fair. Not for yourself, but
like I said, this isn't anything. Well, I know what's coming. I can already tell you the game right now, unless Amorim comes up with something which somehow wrestles a bit of stability in that middle of the pitch.
I'm not even trying to take the piss. I don't even give you like a puncher's chance of some freak goal or whatever. I genuinely don't. Because I think they're going to swamp you and score that many anyway, even if you somehow get one.
100%. But yeah,
you know what I mean.
I think we'll wrap it there. Obviously, we've got he's got them in training this week, but again, it's ahead of the Liverpool game, so I don't know what. Like I said, we're just going to choose some PDs and try and compete with their running power in midfield. I honestly don't know what Amorim can actually do on Sunday, but I know it's the pressure's going to mount. It's going to be another loss, and the confidence is already shot. So let's see. But yeah, we'll preview that later this week. But yeah, everyone's kind of got a feel of how I see it going already. But
yeah,
okay. So we'll flip to a bit more of a calmer side. City stopped the bleeding with a 2-0 win at Leicester. Again, not completely, not vintage, but you're not going to get vintage with.
I think that's a good way to put it. I honestly think it's just a bit of a papering over cracks. I don't think many City fans are going to be watching that game thinking we're back. We're not at all. We were shipping chances. They should have scored. To be honest, they should have really got some out of the game, if I'm being totally honest. We ended up getting the second goal, but if you remember, as we said, we were watching. We did a bit of a watch along, not live, but me and you watched it when we was away. And I was saying to you, we concede every week anyway. So I was very shocked they didn't manage to get one. They wasted chances. Vardy should have scored. And then ultimately we went up the other end of the pitch and we did grab the second. But it was against the run of play, really. There's massive, massive issues. A few things I want to go on about, really. Is Pepper's obviously got 2 wins in the last 14. And he keeps rolling with the same players that, yes, I know he has trusted in the past. And they've repaid his trust ultimately with how many countless trophies. However, it just seems 2 wins in 14 and there's no signs of getting better. Yes, we won, but the same issues were glaringly obvious. We need to move on from it. I know January is coming up and I know that obviously we're going to go and sign, but in the meantime, I think you've got to move on. We should have moved on a few games ago. Bernardo is not at that level. I don't think it's a form thing. I was saying to you when we were talking, I was like, do you think it's a form or do you think it's that he has literally regressed? And I think it is that, unfortunately.
Obviously, you can see with your own eyes the physical abilities of some of these players have regressed massively. And like you said, some of them are still playing 90 minutes every week. Bernardo being the main one. I know De Bruyne played.
I think these seasons where we have gone toe to toe with whoever, we've gone through different eras. We've had Liverpool pushing us to 100 points. We've had Arsenal pushing us to 100 points. And we've still come out on the top of both of them. Obviously, Liverpool grabbed that one in between. Yeah. But that is taking a lot out of players. And especially players like Bernardo, who what's he running, 15k a game? They're going to be the first players to go.
His play style, Bernardo, was never going to age fantastically well. I mean, I think, obviously, it's one of them. It's like when the fact that 5 of them have regressed at the same time is unfortunate. Maybe you might get sort of you might have got a little bit more of a... say if it was just one that fell off, it wouldn't have been as loud as it is right now. But look, just exactly what the points I've just made around the physical ability of your team is you're looking at teams like Leicester did they overpowered you in a lot of moments in that game. Yeah. You got through, like you said, you got the win, but again, you were looking at it like they were sort of overpowering you, and it is sort of, it does need a bit of a rebuild in there, and
Father Time seems to have caught up, and it's happened all at once, and on top of the Rodri injury.
Yeah, you did have underrated athletes as well. We spoke about like De Bruyne. Prime De Bruyne was a very good runner.
Oh, it's powerful,
Obviously, Silva never lost the ball. Fernandinho was an amazing athlete. Bernardo was a very good athlete in his own way, sort of more in a pressing and sort of pitch covering role.
As much as I don't rate him as well, we did have players like Sterling who, yes, I know, obviously they benefited from Pep's system. However, they were still athletes and they worked hard. And now we have strayed away from what we've been good at in the past, and we're going into games where I'm like, obviously, Haaland is just a machine in front of goal. However, we've got unproven players on the wing, and that is where we're lacking goals. Savio got his first goal. I was really happy for that, to be honest. I think he needed that more than anyone. You did ruin him with that comment, to be fair. You did ruin him with that comment saying how long's he been waiting to do that celebration. The baby might be 2 months old.
Yeah.
But no, I think going forward, I think there's other conversations to be had as well. I don't know what your opinion is. Well, I half know your opinion on Guardiola. I think that's a serious conversation that needs to be had, because we've let him get away with way too many in the back line. We've gone from, I think what worries me is we bought him as a centre-back, and I think this is what people forget, because he got shifted out to the left-back, and then everyone was like, oh yeah, but he's great going forward when he's getting goals, which is true. He's a good finisher, weirdly good finisher. However, why did Pep decide, after signing him as a centre-back, he'd never played left-back in his career. Then Pep's moved him there. Did Pep see in training he's not at that level to play centre-back in the Prem, so he didn't put him there?
Well, obviously your mistakes are a bit quieter at left-back than centre-back, I suppose.
Precisely.
That's probably the way he's thought about it. Plus quite handy offensively for a big bloke. He's quite nimble, obviously great in the air. But the mistakes, obviously on that watch-along when the ball bounced and he played Vardy in one-on-one.
It was FA Cup all over again, apart from this time. He didn't fully finish the job off.
This is, so, it's a tricky one with Guardiola, because obviously, up until now, you've needed his goals, really, which is quite a wild thing to say. But
I think he must be one of our top scorers.
Just going back to Savio, I think him getting going is... I think he should probably give him a run in the team, really. Goal and an assist. If he could start putting a bit of a run together, maybe play him on the left, see if that sort of helps him settle down, because the cutting in, teeing off, just you know my opinion on it. It does my head in. They all want to do it, and they all just think they're robbing and they're not. And
he's had one of the most. I read it the other day, and there was a few shock ones as well. But he's had one of the most shot to no goal conversion rates in the league. I'm sure Savio's in the top 2. It's either top 2 or top 3. It's bad. And considering he's only just scored his first goal, and that's the thing. I think if you put him on the left, it takes away that. I don't. At the moment, with him playing on the right, it's almost like we're looking to him for goals. If we put him on the left, it maybe just takes a bit of weight off his shoulders, and it's like, look, if you're a good crosser of the ball, focus on that. If you're getting Haaland goals, we're not bothered if you're not scoring. I don't care. No one was really on Doku last year, if you found, because we were doing well. This is the thing. Everyone absolutely murders Mudryk. They murdered Anthony. No one really went on about Doku, did they? Because City are winning games and we're efficient. So they go under the radar. So what we need to do is just get back to doing what we are good at. Foden, that's a big issue. I mean, we were both watching the game and we were like, what is even happening? He's getting like brushed off the ball. He looked weak.
Look, I mean, I don't know. It's got to be in his head. I mean, look, I mean, he might be physically struggling as well. Like I said, I mean, we don't know this. I mean, if they're in the starting lineup, we all assume that they're 100% ready to go. But people who know your players really well, like I said before about Mainu, just something is off physically, and it might not even be an injury. It might just be just hasn't got the energy he had last season. Might be similar to Foden.
I mean, last year was long, so it could be a
catch. I mean, look, obviously both of them played in the Euros as well and to the final. So yeah, and obviously Foden had a difficult time with sort of, and you maybe some confidence issues there. Like I think in the Leicester game he cut in. He got the ball out from maybe a corner or a short corner.
Yeah, I know which one you're on about.
He didn't aggressively take a touch inside, and he just sent a first time lofted cross in. And it wasn't an aggressive Foden move.
Last year he's that confident. He's even thinking, I might try and double bluff the keeper and put it in the near post. But that's the level of confidence he was at.
Think about Real Madrid goal when he's banged it in the top corner before he's even turned. That he knew where he was on the pitch. He knew what he was going to do. He had the confidence. He had the skill to execute it. You just can't see that happening at the minute. But obviously he has proven himself, and as tough as it is for fans, I mean, this is probably coming from someone who is suffering a lot more than you, for example, or City fans. You do give sort of some of these a pass, but I also know, I do remember when Moyes came in, and we'd won a load of titles in that sort of 06 to 2013 era. And Moyes came in, and there was no part of me that was like relaxed about the situation. So I can remember my feelings then, that none of us, it doesn't matter if you've won 10 in a row, you don't like falling off. And but obviously from my perspective, I just think that some of these players do deserve a little bit of a, you don't want to say a down season, but
no, I know what you mean. Look, if anyone's warranted it, they have. But I think the thing is, Pep, but also I don't want to come across too negative. Obviously, yes, we have won a game. I just don't want to be daft and be one of them unrealistic. City have bounced back. We didn't. We all watched the game. We did not bounce back. We limped over the line against a very poor Leicester side. No disrespect to Leicester. And I also acknowledge they probably should have got something. However, I think the main thing for me is that I want Pep to kind of trial a few players. Like, we saw McAtee come on. Listen, I'm not saying McAtee is a long-term answer. I don't even know if he's at the level to play at the club. He might not be. But he is decent, and I have seen some good things from him. And to be honest, it doesn't matter whether he's at the level to play at the club or not, because currently we haven't got anything better, and the players ahead of him are not performing to the level at all. Whether Bernardo's finished or whether it's form, he's been doing it for the last 14 games. So, I know he got a goal the other day and it was deflected or whatever, but you are talking about his general performances over 90 minutes. I think Pepper's got to go. At the end of the day, we're not going to go into January and sign 5 players. We're going to get 1, maybe 2, right? And I would imagine the main player we're going to sign is DM, obviously, which doesn't affect the offensive players whatsoever. So you're then in a situation where Bernardo is still going to be getting minutes. And I'm not just picking on him, Gundo as well. I think you need to rotate and bring someone new in. Whether it's McAtee or whether it's even someone else, you need to give someone from the academy a chance then.
like you said, you don't know if these guys are good enough, but you've got to see it. You got to.
Yeah.
And he did show a nice bit of skill in the build up to the Haaland goal, which essentially won you the game. 1-0 going into the last 10. You would have been really. I mean, you was on edge as it was throughout the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was a really nice contribution from him, and like you said, I mean, you don't want to see the same guys stinking the gaff out if they're physically knackered, or I mean, Grealish has been getting minutes. He's not scored a goal in the whole year. So you like to, there's minutes to go around there for McAtee and maybe some other guys that we don't know about, and obviously, but Guardiola is under pressure like everybody else, and just because he's won. I'm not saying the owners are sitting down with Guardiola saying you need to get Champions League. It's vital for this club, but it is vital for the club because you don't want to drop out. You don't want to drop out of the top competition, and I'm sure. Look, I think the top 5 qualifies. I'm sure City will make the top 5. But also, Guardiola's in that position where he's fighting that urge to just roll anyone out because he's desperate to still
reclaim what they once were. Yeah. Which is fine.
I mean, it's obviously you're not competing for the league this season, but you definitely don't want to drop out of that top 5. Which, in fairness, I do think you will steady the ship, but. Obviously, we spoke, didn't we, when we was away about the end of Jan, beginning of Feb, or whole of Feb fixtures. That now's the time to rack up some wins against your West Hams, your Leicesters, and get some confidence because you look at that and you think, well, I want to get Foden going before Feb. I mean, we've got
Newcastle, Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham. And not only that, we've got PSG soon as well, which that is a must-win game as well. Because we put ourselves in an absolute catastrophe there. Maybe not must win, but we can't lose. And then we have got to win the last game then. So
you're definitely looking at sort of a playoff at the minute, and you don't think you're going to get top 8 based on the way. I've not looked at the Champions League table, but we'll obviously be getting into looking at the Champions League Europa stuff in the next few weeks, but.
The problem is, Alex, even if we do, say we do get through in the Champions League, whether it be playoff or whether we do whatever happens, right? We're going to be in a situation then where we could face one of the big boys. Am I confident currently if this team, with this form and these performances that I've seen going against a Bayern, I'm not saying they're the Bayern they once were, but I know how good they are in front of goal. And I seriously worry. We're shipping chances to teams like Leicester. Yeah. Now, we will get let off because ultimately they've not got the quality in front of goal to convert it. But if we are shipping chances and they've got Gnabry, Musiala, Harry Kane, Sane, I am seriously concerned what could happen.
It comes back to, again, you're looking at sort of teams that you're really struggling against, and it is similar to United really in the sort of physical. The physical differences between the team you're playing and the team you've got. And like you said, if you pull Real Madrid or Bayern, who are quite an athletic side, both of them too, there's probably hidden teams in there that are quite athletic.
Definitely, yeah.
Your middle of the road that could give you.
You'll get some random French side or something. I don't know
what PSG are like. I've not watched any of them, to be fair. But obviously, you look at Real Madrid. Very typically do. Part the bus at City, and now you look at it and you think, okay, their sort of squad profile, and Bayern we know are very athletic. You've got a midfielder, Tchouameni, Camavinga, Bellingham, Mbappe, Vinicius, and Rodrigo, who are going to run against City's sort of midfield and defence, and Leicester were getting at you, and forget Bayern, we're talking about Madrid, who have parked the bus against you for God knows how many fixtures, you know what I mean? Now, it's like you said, these teams now, look, if Madrid go and park the bus against you, then they need, the club needs completely dropping out. Because this is their opportunity now where they've
you've got to fancy it.
Now, with their sort of advantage physically, and obviously skill level, then these players are great, top players as well.
Yeah. Teams like Bournemouth are coming up against us, and they are fancying it.
Because, like you said, you've got Semenyo, who for Bournemouth, who ran amok against you. Mavdivi, or whatever it is, I can't remember the guy's name. The left winger for Leicester. Again, he was really performing he had a great game. So, like you said, I mean, the Champions League, you don't know how the draw's going to play out. I mean, I don't even know if UEFA do, to be honest, with this new system. But yeah, it's going to be a very interesting time, and look, see what Guardiola does, and if he could get a couple of young boys in, some fresh legs, might steady it and allow some De Bruyne moments.
Yeah,
and that's all I can see.
It's a weird one, right? Because you made a comparison before about City and United being in a sort of similar situation. I actually agree with you, but for different reasons. So yeah, the athleticism is a huge problem with both of our sides right now. Ours because they're aging, you because just by design you've just bought the wrong players. You've also let players age as well. But the thing is with City and United, right? The only difference at the moment is that we're going to still have moments. United don't even have that. Because we've got players that obviously are of a high level. So you've got your Haaland, you've got your KDB. They're going to come up with moments this year. United don't even have that. You're going, what are your moments, Bruno? Like that. That's it.
It's been Rashford, hasn't it, a little bit? And
Rashford. And as we know, I'd be very shocked if at the end of January he's still in a United shirt.
Yeah, and that's the massive concern. I mean, I suppose the flip side to that is you sell him and you can buy, because you would imagine we would get a fee for Rashford, and the FFP would be I think we spoke about McTominay because he's homegrown.
It's much more. Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, I think that's probably the history behind it. But yeah, I mean, obviously where you've got that sort of, if you could stabilise the team a little bit, and you could get De Bruyne in moments with obviously a monster in the box, then you never know, you feel like you could get a little bit of a run together, but it's that stability City you're looking for, where you're struggling physically, and like you said, we're struggling physically, and we don't have a final third magician.
Yeah.
To pull a cross out, and we haven't got a striker to gobble them up, because we spoke about him before. Haaland, even if he's off, even if he's on 9 touches a game in the box, his movement is amazing, and he's bigger and stronger than everyone else.
Yeah, exactly.
Højlund has no anticipation, his movement's shit, and his touch can be off. So, I mean, I'm not having a go, right, but he never scores headers, does he, Højlund?
No.
I mean, honestly, look, I'm probably wrong here. Maybe he has scored a header. I can't think of one.
No, I can't, to be honest.
Headers are about positioning yourself, getting that physical advantage with your defender and staying on side. Haaland does it perfectly. Obviously showed it 2 days ago. Picks up a great position. Obviously the cross has to be good, and I admit we don't deliver great crosses either. But this he doesn't score. He doesn't score any. He doesn't score, does he? Period. But
I think the thing is as well. One thing I would like to say, I don't want to be too negative. Like I say, it is good we've got a win under our belts, and it's important. Yeah. I'm very happy that Savio got our goal. I think that could be huge for us. I think the main thing I just want to see. I'm so glad Pep's here for the rebuild, put it that way. I think, imagine Pep had moved on. My God, the mess we'd be in. Thank God he's here for the rebuild period, and then hopefully he puts us in a good enough position to go forward from there. And listen, I trust Pep wholeheartedly. Yes, we've had a couple of misses recently. We've all seen that. I think the cover signing that didn't need to happen. What we should have done is give Gundo another year, because he did have a good year at Barca, and then shipped him this year and replaced him. Unfortunately, what we did was we got rid of Gundo then. Then we ended up with Cover, who I've not got anything against him. He's just not the player we needed at all. He didn't suit us whatsoever, and now we're faced with Cover in a position he's not even meant to play at. So
just a squad player, and he Kovacic.
Yeah, exactly. But unfortunately, he maybe got bought as a squad player, Alex, but he's now our mainstay in midfield, and he's one of our most important players, and that's the problem.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you.
So
I think, it's like you said, it's going to be amazing to see how this sort of plays out. Obviously, we've got January window opens tomorrow. Both, as fans, we're hoping our clubs do something. I don't know what City are looking at, to be honest, but I have a feeling that United are going to try and sell, as obviously the biggie's Rashford, isn't it?
I've got trust in Pep, and with City, I think that they are so well run from the bottom that they have people in place that are meant to be there. And I do have trust that they'll be scouted. They'll already have names that they want to move on. So I do trust City and I trust Pep. I was glad to see the fans, at the end of the game, giving him support because he is warranted. You will never hear me come on here, no matter what, and slate that guy. But what we are allowed to do is question things that I'm seeing. For instance, that these players have been playing 40 matches and continuously showing they're not at that level anymore. I'm allowed to question why they are still in the team because they're not warranting their place.
Yeah. I mean, this is obviously as fans we see 90 minutes every 7 days, or when Europe's back every 4 days, and that's all we see. We don't see him in training.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You have us scratching our heads at is Gvardiol ballsing up in every single mini training session that you have, because if he is, how the hell are you playing him? I have the same thoughts as you with Gvardiol, and probably every other fan in the world looks at it and goes, if Dalot is completely ineffective in training as a left wing back, why are you playing him? But obviously we don't have anyone else but you know what I'm saying, and obviously is Højlund miscontrolling everything on every single training session? But look, I mean, it's going to be a bit, it rarely is January, is it? It's not a huge window for most big.
One question I had with you with Rashford as well, I'm just interested in. Where do you think he goes in January? Who do you think is going to come in for him? Do you think Prem? Do you think he gets shipped off abroad? Or
it has been very quiet, hasn't it? And there's no. But like I said, it feels like the club are getting rid of him, and they must have suitors. Conversations happen all the time, and there's been nothing though. I mean, like I said, I'm hoping Arsenal I don't hope Arsenal because it's going to be sad to see on a sort of human level.
Yeah, Manchester lad. Yeah,
and I'm just thinking of suitors here, like realistic suitors on his salary, who would actually go and do it. And
I think there's two. There's PSG, and PSG have wanted him in the past, so I suppose that does make sense.
If you can get them to sign him, send him there. Definitely, like Levy wouldn't sell Kane to a Prem team. I wouldn't want to, but if PSG don't want him, I think Arsenal might want to do it, just because they're close enough to think if we can sign a forward that is better than. I mean, Saka's injured as well, so out for 2 months, isn't he? So you think that, and the fans would be on board with it. Like I said, there's that Van Persie angle. From what I've seen of Rashford for 18 months, I don't think he will. I don't think they're going to win the league anyway. Look, from what I've seen with Liverpool, they're going to stomp it.
Yeah.
However, obviously, as fans, you cling to hope, don't you? And Arsenal fans, I don't know, the lead is at 8 points or whatever. You're going to start going, oh God, if we could get it down to 5 and put the pressure on. So you like to think that they might be a suitor, and like I said, 40 million for Rashford would give us opportunity to sign, to invest. But we need 2 wing backs and a forward.
Yeah, with United, it's where do you start? What do you
do? You go and get Gyökeres and put him in for Højlund, but again, no guarantees. He's coming from a lower league. To a wing, at least a left. You need to go and get a left back, really, and you need a forward. A 10, whatever position you call it. So it's going to be a real interesting window for sure for both of us, and I'm really hoping we could get 2. If we could get 2 in, it'd be nice to give Amorim a little bit more ammo to try and show what he can do, because if this carries on, he won't even get to summer. If United drop to in the relegation zone or just above it, he's gone.
That's mad. It's mad to even think, but we both know how the media, and we both know fans as well, they're going to be on his case. And the thing is, it might not even be United fans. It'll be opposition. I mean, I heard Newcastle fans last night trying to get him. And the thing is, if this goes on a few months, it's going to be piling on it.
I mean, it already is, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You'd like to... Look, he's not got a summer window behind him. This is his best bet of getting some players. and you just hope that INEOS can do something. They owe us because,
Yeah,
like we touched on earlier in the pod, the summer was a joke. The summer
yeah,
was a joke. I don't even care. I don't care whether three of them are good or not. They were all signed in the wrong positions, and the record is like, look, you could say Ten Hag when you're 9 games in. That's a small-ish sample size. Now Amorim's had 8. We're halfway through the season. This squad is a bottom half of the table squad. So yeah, I mean, let's see what happens. Obviously, we'll look ahead to. It's been a bit of a long one because United are so shit, but yeah, I think it's probably a good place to wrap it, and we'll get obviously with the fixtures calming down a little bit now. I think it's a week off, isn't it?
yeah,
For
yeah, yeah.
both of us.
That's
So
right.
obviously we're Sunday. You are. I'm just having a quick look now.
We're Saturday, aren't we?
Saturday 3 p.m. So
Yeah.
we'll get on before then.
Yeah, we'll get some predictions in.
Thursday, Friday, get some predictions and start a bit of a league table for that.
Yeah.
And then yeah, obviously I think then probably Champions League's coming back, isn't it? I'm just having a quick look now. When your Champions League, you play Paris on. Oh, sorry, it's FA Cup after the next one, and then it's PSG 22nd of Jan. So it's a few weeks off, to be fair.
Yeah, what we'll try and do as well is with some of the big games, we'll try and put in some live streams as well, some watch alongs on YouTube. We're going to do our first one as well with the Liverpool.
We're going to do Liverpool, yes. So we'll try and get a pod out end of this week, looking ahead to the weekend, and then watch along, and then a review of whatever massacre happens on Sunday.
Yeah.
A week today. That's all I can probably say. But yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap it.
Definitely. All right, mate. It's been good.
Thanks for listening, and Happy New Year to any. Have you any New Year's resolutions, Christian?
I need to be less fat, to be honest. So I think we've both been thinking about doing dry Jan, haven't we? And you lost a load of weight last time, so I think I'm actually going to try and do it.
Dry Jan, just generally eating healthier, and a microphone and camera for the pod.
Yeah, that's the one.
If anybody is tuning in the new year, it won't look like we won't have an echo and a blurry screen. So
everyone's got to start somewhere.
Well, that's it. So we'll upgrade the equipment when we can.
Ours is just on potatoes and talking through bad mics.
That's true, but yeah, you get the gist. Okay, thanks for joining, Christian. Thanks for listening. If anybody does tune in, see you in a few days where we'll look ahead to the weekend. Catch up.
Yeah, mate, defo. Cheers for watching, guys.
Bye bye.